Is the SNXS79 still the king of budget watches in 2025? Let's find out. If you're watching this, you've probably seen other YouTube videos with titles such as the Oyster Perpetual Alternative, the Rolex Killer, or the Best Value Watch. The Seiko 5 model has been a rite of passage for the watch enthusiast, and for good reasons. But with the new SNXS series out, is the original still worth it, or is it time to move on? Let's start with the dimensions. We have a 37mm diameter, 11mm thickness, 42mm lug to lug, and 19mm lug width. The well-proportioned case of this watch complements its classic style and is ideal for a medium-sized wrist like mine. The SNXS79 features a cushion-style case with polished finishing on all sides, a slim side profile, and a relatively thick case back, which may seem quite bulky, but as you'll see later, it snuggles into the wrist very well and it slides under a cuff quite easily. Now the thing that probably made it so popular is the rhodium sunburst style. With the button hands and implied hour markers, it has that Oyster Perpetual look that many of us watch geeks love. So I had to include an outside shot as well to really capture the color change in the sunlight. There is an Apply Seiko 5 logo as well, a day-date window at 3 o'clock with a polished metal frame, and the automatic 21 joules at 6 o'clock in typical Seiko 5 style. Unlike the OP, I think it's missing a little touch of color and it might seem too boring for some, being all silver and all. Only the date breaks the monotone with the blue and red font, but just for Saturday and Sunday. Still, I think it's beautiful how it reflects the light and seems to be well made. Otherwise, the usual Harlex mineral crystal is present on the front and the back of the case, and a small crown nested at 4 o'clock completes the understated look of this watch, but it won't bother you too much because you won't need to touch it unless you have to change the time or the date. And that leads me to the movement, which is the 7S26 automatic movement with its 40-hour power reserve, 21 joules, and despite the fact that it doesn't have manual winding or hacking, it has been the backbone of the Seiko 5 collection for decades, thanks to its simplicity and its proven reliability. The watch comes with an all-brushed oyster-style bracelet featuring folded links and hollow end links. Surprisingly, it still pairs decently with the polished case, but I would have preferred the polished middle link for a more refined look. The clasp is pressed with no release button, just the Seiko 5 logo and 5 micro adjustment holes. Honestly, the whole bracelet feels as flimsy as a tin can. This is the first thing that I would change if I were to keep the watch. You have plenty of options from third-party sellers if you want to keep it on a metal strap, but you want something that doesn't pinch your hair like this one does. Or you can give it a more elegant look by matching it with a nice leather strap that would complement that beautiful dial. Just keep in mind that the 90mm lug width is not the most common dimension, unless you want to squeeze in a 20mm strap like I did here. On my wrist, the watch wears like a dream. The slightly domed case back doesn't make it feel too tall, as it nestles perfectly into the wrist. I'll also throw in a Lume shot so you can see it in action. It's Lume bright and is applied in quite generous quantity, so you know you wouldn't have any issues to tell the time in the dark. In summary, if I were to point out the minor flaws of this watch, I'd say its minimal 30-meter water resistance, the poor quality bracelet, the mineral crystal, and the lack of hand winding. Seiko has improved some of these aspects with the new version, but at almost 4 times the price of the old one, you still don't get a sapphire crystal. Honestly, if I were to go for a new model, I'd pick a Citizen instead. They've been absolutely killing it with their recent releases, but that's a topic for another video. So for about $100, if you like the style of this watch, this is still one of the best automatic watches you can get. Just swap the bracelet and you're good. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Bye.